This is pre-algebra lesson 1-5, adding integers. Additive inverses, it's a fancy name for opposites. 6 and negative 6 are additive inverses of each other. Okay, 4 and negative 4, negative 12 and 12, etc. When a number and its opposite or additive inverse is added, the answer is always 0. So the sum of an integer and its opposite is 0. 1 plus negative 1 equals 0, which means x plus negative x equals 0. Algebra tiles or colored discs can be used to add integers. Make one color negative and one color positive. To model the addition of two integers, represent each integer in tiles and put the tiles together. Match a positive tile and a negative tile to form a zero pair, remove the zero pairs, and the remaining tiles represent an integer sum. Okay, so let's do that. Let's say I have an add I have my own tiles over here. If you would like, you can just use yellow for positive and red for negative using colored pencils. And that makes the tiles really well. Or if you want, you can just draw tiles. You can say this tile is positive and this tile is negative. That works too. So if you want to just draw your tiles that way, that will work. Or if you'd like to use colors or shading, one means positive, non-shading, one means negative. I don't care. So, if we have 2 plus negative 4, remember, if it doesn't have a negative sign next to it, it means it's positive. If I'm going to model these with tiles, I have a positive 2. Oops. I have a positive 2 here, and it's not letting me grab for some ridiculous reason.
It's only going to let me grab it with my mouse. Yeah, unless we grab it with my mouse, why doesn't it let me grab it with my finger? There we go. I have a positive 2, and then I have a negative 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see that a positive and a negative makes a zero pair, and those get canceled out. Okay? So I can either cross them out, or I have a handy little garbage can over here, so I can just take these tiles and throw them in the garbage can, like that. Okay, so that's a positive, and a negative, so that goes away, that's a positive, that's a negative, that goes away, and what am I left with? I'm left with negative 2. Now look at problem number 2 here. I have a positive 7 and a negative 3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to say down here 4, 5, 6, 7, and a negative 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Positive 7 and negative 3. If I pair them up, I have these 3 positives pair up with these 3 negatives, and they go away. I'm just going to cross them off this time instead of taking the garbage can. Leaves me with 4 positives, so 7 plus negative 3 has to be 4. Take a look at this next one here. Negative 2 plus negative 2. So I have negatives. Oops, I did it again. Negatives. Okay. There's 1. There's 2. And I'm going to add to it another 2 negatives. There's 1. And there's 2. Nothing cancels out because there are no positives. So my final answer here is negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4 because there are 4 negative tiles there. A second way of adding integers is using a number line. The number line provides another model that can be used. It's very visual. You start at 0 to represent a negative number. You move left that many units to represent a positive number. You might write that many numbers. Okay? And where you end up is your final answer. So let's take a look at this. We're going to use a number line. Find the following sums. 2 plus negative 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to positive 2. Okay, so 1, 2 to the right, because that's positive. And then negative 6 means I move it 6 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since you don't have movable number lines on your paper, you could do this the same way by just simply doing this. I could say, I'm going to start out at 0, I'm going to go positive 2 units. And I'm going to stop there. And then from there, I'm going to go negative 6 units. So I'm going to start here. There's 2 units, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the right there. Okay. Either way, you end up at negative 4. Okay. Do our next problem. Start with our arrow being 0. You always have to start at 0 first. We have negative 4, so I'll start at negative 4. And I'm going to go 9 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I end up at positive 5. Again, to show that on the number line, because you don't have a fancy little number line that does the little movable things, I can start out at 0, and I go from 0 to negative 4. And then I go from negative 4, I go positive 9, so I go all the way back over here, and I end up at 5. Either way works, and it shows the process of how you use a number line to add integers. Let's look at this last one. Negative 5 plus negative 1. First thing I have to do is start at 0, go to the left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more negative, because I'm going to add another negative 1, boom, on that negative 6. Now, as helpful as these models are, they can also be very cumbersome. To try to add integers by constantly carrying a number line or constantly carrying a bunch of red and yellow tiles would be very difficult, because eventually you're going to get very large numbers or very small numbers that are going to be really hard. I don't want to have to carry 572 negative tiles in my pocket and then 321 positive tiles in my pocket, and then have to match up a negative to a positive until I have the number left. That would be very cumbersome. So mathematicians set up some rules to make adding integers easier. 2 basic rules. If your integers have the same sign, both negative or both positive, add the numbers together and give them the common sign. The sum of 2 positive integers is positive, the sum of 2 negative integers is negative. Just remember, same sign, add, and keep. Okay? Same sign, add them together, keep the common sign. Okay, it's a nice little trick. Same sign, add, and keep. Add them together, keep the common sign. If they are different signs, one negative and one positive, find the difference of their absolute values and give the sign of the number with the larger absolute value. So, same signs, add, keep. Different signs, subtract. Give the sign of the larger number. Okay, so this one would be, which would be different signs, subtract. Give sign of larger number. Basically larger absolute value. Okay. Same sign, add and keep, different signs, subtract. So, now we're going to do this using rules. No little tiles, no little number lines. Okay, number 1. Notice both of them are negative, so I can just add them together, and my answer is going to be negative. 15 and 8 is 23, so this is going to be negative 23. And number 2, they're both positive. 7 plus 8 is 15. I am done. Number 3, negative 23 and negative 14. Same signs, add them together, keep the common sign. So this is negative 37. If you have to do it off to the side, be my guess. I think that's perfectly fine. Number 4, negative 12 plus 8. Okay, here we have different signs. So we're going to subtract them. We're going to take 12 and we're going to subtract 8 from that, and we get 4. And since 12 has got the larger absolute value and it's negative, my answer will be negative 4. That's how you apply that rule. If there are different signs, subtract them. Whichever number would be the larger number if it wasn't negative, that's the sign you get. Number 5, 7 plus negative 12. Again, a positive and a negative. So I'm going to take 12 and subtract 7 from it, which is 5. But it's going to be negative 5 because the 12 is negative. The larger number has a negative sign to it. So therefore, the answer has got to be negative. 6 here, 13 plus negative 17. So 17 minus 13 is 4. And it's going to be negative 4 because 17 has a larger absolute value and it's negative. So my answer is negative. Now, when you get to problems like number 7, you know, quite a few problems, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do it straight from left to right, okay? Or you can pair up all the negative numbers and add all those together, and then take care of the positive numbers and add all those together. I'm going to do it both ways. Okay, first way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to do it simply from left to right. So here I have two numbers, same sign, 7 and 4 is 11, so it's negative 11 plus 13. Those are different numbers. So that's going to be 2 because negative 11 is smaller than 13. And then 2 plus negative 5 is negative 3. That's one way of doing that problem. Let's take a look at that exact same problem, and let's do it a slightly different way. I have negative 7 plus negative 4 plus 13 plus negative 5. The other way you can do it is take all of your negative numbers, right? All the numbers that have the same sign. So negative 7 plus negative 4 plus negative 5. And combine those. That's negative 11 plus negative 5 is negative 16 plus 13 is still negative 3. It doesn't matter which way you choose to do it. I don't have a preference. Whichever one you prefer to do, you can do. Okay, number 8 here, I'm going to combine all my numbers that are negative first. So I'm going to have negative 5 plus negative 6 plus negative 1. And I'm going to add to that 2 plus 3. Okay, all my negative numbers are grouped together. All my positive numbers are grouped together. Let's see. 6 minus 11 plus 1 is 12. So it's negative 12 plus 5. Negative 4 plus 5 is negative 7. Same problem, I could have done 2 plus negative 5 plus negative 6 plus 3 plus negative 1. I can do this, which is negative 3 plus negative 6, which is negative 9, plus 3, which is negative 6, plus negative 1, which is negative 7. Still got the same answers I did up here, just a slightly different way. You choose which way you prefer. Just remember, same sign, add them together, keep the problem solving. Different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the number that would have the larger absolute value.